Okay, today's question is, how do I deal, cope, negotiate relationships with loved ones who have opposing political beliefs? So that's loved ones, friends, work colleagues, really anyone that you have to relate to. How do you do that when they have different opposing political beliefs? Okay. Let's see what we got. Thank you for the question. And here is our answer, or shall we say solution, to this apparent conundrum, which is becoming more prevalent at this time in the human experience. Before we go further, we'll say that this time will be fleeting, and soon, not too far in the future, this opposition between political factions will be transcended, and unity and coming together will be the predominant direction, the predominant expression of the human tendency. So if you are in a place where you are hurting, or you are afraid, or you're worried that the political division is taking you away from those that you love and care about, or creating a division which you wish wasn't there, everything is going to be hunky-dory, shall we say? So ride what is happening and fear not. So, in the interim, going back to the original question, how do you cope or deal with or negotiate relationships with those that you care about when the political beliefs held between you and them is different enough that it creates conflict, or it creates an incompatibility in relating? In those circumstances, it is not within your realm of control to control them. They will have their beliefs, they will have their own journey, they are their own unique expression of the one. And so it is their choice to do as they wish. And so we would say it would be fruitless and possibly even damaging to try and change them. However, that does not mean you cannot share your information, but share it when it is appropriate. Share it when there is a agreement between all parties that information can be shared freely, openly, and with the respect and mutual love which will allow the information to be in a central area for all parties to look at and decide if it's something they resonate with or not. If you try to force it on them, if you try to scream it into them, then this will be ineffective and do little more than to widen the gap. So it does require intuitive sensing of when the time is appropriate to share your information. And also, in the sharing of the information, you are sharing the experience. And to share the experience openly and with love and fairness, then you allow them to also contribute their ideas. And then through discussion and comparison, you can make a joint assessment of the material at hand, and then that's enough. The interaction does not need to end with their agreement with your facts, with your version, with your opinion, or your agreement with theirs. It's not necessary that it must end that way. All it is an open sharing of perspective, and then from that you decide what you choose and they decide what they choose. And if this mutual respect and willingness to hear each other is accomplished, then at the very least you can agree to disagree. And in your agreeing to disagree, this basis of agreement allows you to maintain mutual respect, love, so that the foundation of a healthy relationship is maintained. Of course, that is a very good outcome. We could say that that is a best case scenario when you are in discussion with somebody who has an opposing view to you and is not ready to relinquish their view, and you are not ready to relinquish your view. Of course, there is going to be the occasion where you will be in discussion with somebody and they are very opposed, you are very opposed, and the agreement to disagree may not even be reached. Because, for example, perhaps they forbid you to disagree. They will not agree with your disagreements because they will feel that perhaps it illustrates you as being a type of person which is undeserving of the energy of a loving, caring relationship. And so they may wish to excommunicate you or to have unpleasant feelings for you which they want you to be aware of. In this situation, this is our advice. First, it wouldn't serve you to take it personally. It wouldn't serve you to take a combative stance, an adversarial perspective of the dynamic which is in play. Instead, we suggest that recall that you are not the mind-body personality construct, and neither are they. It is just a temporary state, and at this moment both of you are sharing the same space in the physical playground, such that both of you can have your opportunity to know thyself through the physical experience. And at the largest, most broadest, vastest, most expansive perspective, you are in fact one. You are one being. You and them are literally the same being. And so disagreement can only occur by agreement. This is not to say that you agree to disagree. What this is saying is that because there is only one being, and therefore this situation where there is agreement and disagreement between different perspectives of the one is part of the grand agreement, because there is only one. And in the state of only one, there cannot be disagreement in the true sense. It is an agreement to disagree, because by the agreement of disagreement between these unique perspectives of the one thing, it potentiates unique experience. The one wishes to experience the disagreement. The one wishes to have the opposing perspectives at the same time, so that it may know itself. It must be all of it. It must experience all of it. All circumstance, all potentiality must be explored. And so it is by agreement that this disagreement has occurred. And so in this sense, you are adopting a higher self perspective and beyond, because you are no longer seeing the duality, you're no longer seeing the polarity, you're no longer seeing the separation, the difference. Instead, you are seeing the oneness playing with itself, the oneness experimenting with the possibilities of experience. And this is divine, this is holy, this is the universal purpose, to know thyself. And so there is nothing unholy, there is nothing evil, there is nothing bad, shall we say, with this scenario of the apparent disagreement on the lower level of the physical experience. So this person who disagrees with you does not deserve your condemnation, and neither do you deserve theirs, because you are both the same thing, playing out possible experience such that this same thing, this one thing which you both are, can fulfill its purpose, which is to know thyself. It is holy, it is divine. Your disagreement is part of the great mechanism. So, we like to speak about this concept of straddling both versions of self simultaneously. So you are the higher self, your true essence, who you are before birth, who you are after birth, and of course who you are during lifetime, although perhaps unaware. Have identification with that, because that is the true you, that is the essence of who you are. And then of course we cannot disregard the mind-body apparatus, the personality construct, because this is the vehicle that you are using in this lifetime, such that the higher self, which you are, can have the opportunity to discover the non-physical aspects of self in the physical experience, to recall, to remember, to awaken to this true essence of who you are in the physical experience. So both of these perspectives are essential for the process of awakening, for the physical experience to be utilized in the most productive way possible in regard to universal purpose, in regard to your purpose. So straddle these two worlds, straddle these two identities. Therefore, when you are communicating with people who you have a political problem with, shall we say, particularly if it's somebody who is meaningful to you, then Maintain awareness that it is through agreement that you disagree, because you are the higher self, and so are they. And so there is no need for hostility. There is no need for hatred or any negativity towards that person. And then in the apparatus identity, when you interact with them, bring the love and understanding of the highest self, awareness that you are the one, into the communication. So if they disagree, if they are callous, if they are hating on you, if they are combative to the point where it is their agenda to upset you, it is their agenda to make you feel poorly about yourself, to diminish you, to do anything which is an attack and not a gesture of love, but a gesture of causing you some type of pain or conflict, then love them back. Allow them to be as they choose to be. If that is their journey, then that is their journey. And they are no less worthy of their journey than you are. Even if you know for certain their political beliefs are counter to the awakening of humanity, are counter to their own welfare, even if you are aware of this, then it does not matter. In the grand scheme, because there is just one, and that one is love. And so in the mind, body, personality construct interaction with them, maintain love as your base principle from which your interaction with them germinates. So if they are hateful and hurtful and attacking to you, you can acknowledge they have different ideas, different principles. And if they are unwilling to hear, if they are closed off, then that is their choice. And despite their behavior, despite their choice to treat you in a way which perhaps isn't kind, you continue to love them. You continue to accept them. Because from the higher self perspective, it is very apparent to you that you are both one, that you are both love, that you have agreed to disagree from the elevated perspective. Therefore, it is no more wrong than it is right. It just is. It just is. They are playing their role such that they may awaken to the realization that they are the one having a unique physical experience in this 3D reality. So in summary, we would say maintain this idea of straddling both identities. So be in the physical experience. Realize that the world recognizes you as the mind-body personality construct. That's how the world mostly perceives you. If you're in discussion with somebody who has a very opposing belief to you and they are willing to be hostile, then absolutely you can say for sure they view you as separate from them. They view you as not them, because they see division, they see gap, and they will direct hostility towards you. Only this would happen if they don't realize hostility towards you is literally hostility towards themselves, because you are the same. And at the same time, you are maintaining the perspective that you are the higher self, you are the one, you are the being of love. And so when you maintain these duality of perspective, you can be in the moment with them, but at the same time be separate or not connected to the perspective of polarity which they are maintaining. So their polarity, their very strong sense of polarity doesn't pull you into polarity also, so that you become defensive, combative, adversarial, and want to say, no, you're wrong, and other versions of that type of combative energy. Instead, you can listen, you can acknowledge that they have their position, and you can internally acknowledge you have your position, speak it if it's appropriate, speak it if you are able to create the basis of freedom to express and willingness to listen. If you can create that basis with them, then share to them your version of what you believe. But at all times, maintain the awareness that you are both one. You are literally the one thing, and that one thing is love. And so while in this physical experience, in the playground of 3D possibility, where different perspectives of the one thing which you both are perhaps clash or disagree, it will never be enough to pull you down into the polarity such that you forget that ultimately you are both one, you are both love. And then you can have relationships with these people, these loved ones, those that you care about, which can be peppered with political disagreement, but the overreaching, the umbrella, the bubble within which love. And so your feelings, your state of being, your expression of your perspective of the relationship you share with them will be based in love, and it cannot be taken from you. And their hostility, their willingness to enter into conflict with you doesn't touch you. It doesn't for you to